This is Leo Rossi in Deep Cover, the real Donnie Brasco with the real Donnie Brasco, Joseph D. Pistone. Joe, good morning.
Good morning, Leo. How are you today?
You know what? I tell you, I'm kick-ass today, Joe. I'm ready to tackle this. We are going back to the tapes that Joe has secured of his time when he was in Deep Cover with the 5 mafia families and bosses of other families. The first one will be you dictating a letter, to Jules Bonavolanta. And that is your handler. He is in charge of the operation, correct, Joe?
That's correct. Yeah.
And this is what you are saying about Lefty Guns's and Tony Conti, which is an undercover FBI agent. This is that whole backdrop of where is Tony Conti. Okay.
I'm leaving it up to you for periods, paragraphs, and everything else. On October 10th, 1978, at approximately 9:30 p.m., S.A. Joseph D. Pistone, also known as Donald Brasco, while operating in an undercover capacity, met with Benny Lefty Ruggiero at Lynn's, L-Y-N-N-S, restaurant, 71st Street between 1st and York Avenues, New York City, period. The meeting was in reference to Tony Conti and his relationship with a girlfriend of Frank Balistrieri of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, period. Ruggiero was worried that Conti had insulted Balistrieri by making advances to one of Balistrieri's girlfriends, period. Ruggiero stated that Mike Sabella was also annoyed and that Ruggiero and Sabella were embarrassed by the situation since they had brought Conti to Balistrieri and introduced him for the purpose of being a business partner of Balistrieri and representing Sabella and Ruggiero, period. Paragraph, Ruggiero advised that he wanted Pistone to go to Baltimore, Maryland, and check into Conti's background to see if he had a reputation of fooling around with the ladies, period. Ruggiero stated he needed this information for when he got called in to explain Conti's relationship with the ladies, period. Paragraph, Ruggiero stated that the last time Conti was in New York City, Ruggiero, lectured him for 2 hours regarding getting friendly with ladies when he was in wise guy places, period. Ruggiero stated that Conti bought drinks for 3 ladies one night in Marco's, and Ruggiero lectured him for doing this, period. Paragraph, Ruggiero also stated that Conti wanted to be a wise guy, period. Ruggiero stated that a wise guy would not insult and embarrass another wise guy's girlfriend, period. Paragraph, Ruggiero stated that one thing you never do is insult a boss, period. Ruggiero advised that he felt that with all the proper information regarding Conti's background, he could salvage the situation in Milwaukee, period. Ruggiero continued that Mike Sabella stated to him that insulting someone's wife or girlfriend was worse than being a rat or pimp, period. Ruggiero was given the sum of $500, which was supposed to be his end of from a score that S.A. Pistone had pulled in California, period.
Okay. I got a general question, Joe. In your time, 6 years, Deep Cover, how many of those do you think you committed to tape? I mean, 4 or 5 a week, or once a week, or?
Oh, several, Leo. My thought process was I only dictated what I thought was important information, either for intelligence purposes that we didn't have intelligence on, or for evidentiary value to use in a courtroom. But I dictated a lot of those, and everything was dictated. I didn't commit any myself. I did not commit anything to paper. That was all
That was prearranged?
prearranged, dictated on the telephone. Yeah, yeah.
Huh. Well, it's good, and you did good with the grammar and the paragraphs and all. That was nice.
Not bad for a kid from Patterson, you know.
Yeah, Patterson, New Jersey. So now, this Tony Conti, okay, undercover agent. Let me ask you, did he really have a liaison with these ladies, or were they plants? Were they undercover plants?
No, he had no liaison with any ladies. It's like anything else. You're out, and it's part of part of his cover. We were in a restaurant. There were three ladies dining alone, so he just sent over drinks. That was it. I mean, there was no conversation with him. Just call a waiter over. Hey, send those three ladies over some drinks. That was it.
And that thing blew up to his integrity. He was a ladies' man, and you guys planted that after, like you said, a meeting that wasn't planned with three ladies. Say he sent over drinks. That's all, but you guys capitalized on that.
Sure.
To get him out of his undercover role.
Yeah, sure, we did. And if you recall, I capitalized on we capitalized on a art heist that took place in Chicago.
Right, you did that too.
Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, so that gives you...
We planted that.
Street cred, right?
Exactly.
Wow. And it really, outside of the one time that Tony Conti slipped and called you Joe, which could have been curtains for everybody, he was a pretty sharp guy too, huh?
Oh, he was one of the best. I mean, I worked other undercover operations with Tony, and he was one of the best undercovers that we had. And he was a pretty hefty guy, former Marine, rugged, and he was a good talker, he just had a brain freeze at one time. That's all. We all get him.
That's for our listeners, our loyal listeners. You know what that is. New listeners. Joe was driving in a car with Lefty Two Guns Ruggiero and Tony Conti and Joe, and they're in Milwaukee, and they're driving around looking, and all of a sudden, he's going Donnie, and oh yeah, Donnie, and he all of a sudden came up and said, "Yeah, Joe, you remember." Now, Lefty, who this was a little harder for him to decipher than the Lefty on the boat, because that was pretty evident, right?
Yeah, I mean, he picked right up on it.
Yep, he picked right up on it. And then what did our dear friend Tony Conti do? He kept using Joe all the time.
All
hey,
night.
Joe, how are you? At the ticket booth, in a restaurant, to the waiter. Hey, Joe, what sort of mess? It worked, Joe.
That's the new thing in Milwaukee. Everybody's Joe.
Everybody's Joe. You created that. So the capo, your capo, Lefty's capo, Sabella, right?
Mike Sabella.
Sabella?
That's correct. Mike Sabella.
All right. He's would like to probably whack the two of you when this thing surfaced that maybe Balistrieri's girlfriend was hit on.
Well, yeah, because don't forget, Leo, all this is about money. I mean and being married to the Balistrieris, two mob families married together, splitting illegal profits. and now it cuts us out. And plus, it makes Mike look bad. You know, his prestige, as Lefty would say, is harmed. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And yeah, and he looks bad to his higher ups and on and on.
It goes down a line. I look bad to Lefty. Lefty looks bad to Mike. Mike looks bad to the boss, to the underboss, to the consigliere. Because don't forget, I take the deal to Lefty. Lefty takes the deal to Mike Sabella. Mike Sabella takes the deal to the underboss, and then to the consigliere, and then Bonannos have to get in touch with Chicago. So you involve the Chicago family. Then the Chicago family gets in touch with Balistrieri in Milwaukee. So now you got three families deciding whether the Bonannos can go to Milwaukee and get into a relationship with the Milwaukee family.
All right, so now I'm not real bright, but here, all Mike Sabella says to Lefty, I'm out of my imagination. So does Donnie. I mean, Donnie, he's us, right? I mean, he's with us. I mean, you trust him 100%. Yeah, no, trust him 100%. Then, when Sabella goes to the underboss, he's going to ask the same questions. This guy, Donnie, you know him? Yeah, no, Donnie, Sonny Lefty, yeah. And then he's got to go sell you to the consigliere, and then the boss gives.
I knew all these people before, but he still had a silly idea that it was a good idea, and that they trusted that we had to sell Tony basically. So I had to sell Tony, and then to Lefty. Then Lefty had to sell Tony. Me and Lefty then had to sell Tony to Mike, and up the chain. So we all, we had to sell Tony. And then...
You know what? It's like if some people think Cosa Nostra was loose fitting, they had their chain of command.
Oh, yeah.
And you had to do it.
And then...
My God.
And then when it went south... we had to tell Mike Sabella, and then we had then we had to have a sit down with Mike. So we go to Casabella, which was Mike's restaurant down in Little Italy, and we go upstairs and in the rooms upstairs. And now you gotta be very careful. You have to explain to him what happened, and we got to convince him that Tony didn't screw up. With somebody he didn't insult Frank. He didn't insult Frank's sons. He didn't. It wasn't because he was fooling around with the hostess in the in Frank's restaurant hotel. And then I don't know if you remember this, but Mike was mad. He was pissed. In fact, our punishment, I don't know if you remember.
Oh, this was back, yeah, say it for the listeners. I love this.
Our punishment was we couldn't go to the Christmas party.
I said, well, Joe, you got what you deserved. And you could probably spend Christmas then with your family, But really, at the heart of this is greed. I mean, the money that they thought the Bonannos could make, in the Midwest with the Balistrieris, that's what propelled everything.
It's all about making money. I mean, the same thing when we went to Florida, to hook up with Traficante. All they see in front. All they see are dollar signs. They see Benjamins. That's all they're looking at.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I've learned talking to you over all this time is they're always looking for the next scam and the next score.
That's what it is.
It could be Sunday at midnight. It could be Thursday at 6 a.m. They're always
It's
looking
always
for it.
for the next score. How can we make money?
And you, personally, were there sometimes 6 a.m. Thursday morning or midnight on Sunday for wherever you had to be to propel it.
Yeah, exactly.
From Jam Street Media.